Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorcycle Rewind, and today we're doing a channel update. Kind of let you guys know where we are with the different projects we have, kind of what our plans are for them, and see which ones you are most interested in. So let's get started. Okay guys, so we have 16 motorcycles, 16, the one in the back of the truck, 17 motorcycles currently in the shop slash garage, and just going to kind of let you know kind of where we are with each one, what they are, and we're going to start right here with the 1972 Honda CB 125 little cafe racer that we built up a couple of years ago. My friend Howard Doris, who passed away recently, he had a whole bunch of motorcycles in different states of disrepair in his yard on his property. I say in his yard, on the acres of yard that he had. And one day we were there and I said, hey, why don't we just build up some 125s? And we walked around and we found 3 of them, and we ended up building them up. We had a build off, if you will, and this is what mine turned out to be. Just a fun little bike. It's a great bike just to run around. This one is a 1981 Honda Twinstar 200 CM200T is what the nomenclature is, and we got this one for free maybe about 2 months ago. I said let's just see if we could build it up, and we built it up into something that is kind of fun. I put the big rack, only stuff we had in-house. We already had the seat, we had the cover and the foam, we didn't have a seat pan part, so we went ahead and built that. We had bars here, we had the big rack off of a CB 350, the big shocks come off of a XS 650, and I put the rack on the back just so I could ride it to go get pizza. And if you lived in a city, it would be kind of cool to have something with a big rack on the back. And ironically, I didn't notice it, but it's right next to Amanda's little Suzuki 120 that they had the same idea. I need to raise the back end of mine up a little bit more, but we did some things, and all of these that I'm talking about have videos. So we have videos on them, just kind of going through these. This Suzuki and this Suzuki are both Amanda's, a friend of mine's, just getting them running for her. That's where those two are, and then we'll move here. Little C200 90cc. This is an early pushrod engine. We picked it up at Barber last year, finally got it running. It's got new piston, new push rods, new valves, new rings. It had a crack in this intake. This one back here, pretty special. 1978 CB 400A hondamatic, and that's Carrie's, one of Carrie's motorcycles. I'll show you her other one in just a few moments, but that's Carrie's motorcycle, and it is awesome. For those of you guys who have never ridden a CB 400A, it's like a lazy boy. It doesn't have a clutch. This is a parking brake here. It's a parking brake, and all it does is show you what gear, what speed you're in, 1 or 2 here. So you shift up or down. Once you shift, you can start off. You only need to be in neutral to start it, but once you're started, you can shift into 2 and then never touch it again until you stop and you have to start it again. Pretty simple, pretty amazing bike. Once Carrie found out that they made a hondamatic, she wanted one. When you ride that thing, it's so comfortable, it's so capable, it's so perfect. This is a 1978 CB 550K, and we did the Mikuni carb swap on it, to where from Speed Moto Code, where different intakes, 2 Mikuni carbs. Why? Because I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about, and I like it. This thing is awesome. It's perfect. Unfortunately, it doesn't get ridden as much as it should, and I'll show you why, because of some of the other motorcycles. Little Garelli Super Sport right here that I just picked up because I used to do mopeds. When we lived in Connecticut years ago, I really started this whole motorcycle hobby thing with pedal start mopeds. After my kids, our kids, or not my kids, it took 2 of us, but after our kids graduated from high school and I was home, I had plenty of room in the basement. So what do? Started tinkering with pedal start mopeds. So this guy showed up on Marketplace and I just had to get it. The problem with this one is that it's a 15-mile-an-hour version, and I could take it and rebuild things and do all that. I'm not doing that. You guys may have seen, if you saw the race video, that just went up a couple of days ago, the little Kawasaki MT1B. This thing is incredible. This is Jackson's, our grandson's little mini bike. It's awesome. We ride him around on it and he loves it. We're gonna make our way into the shop in just a moment. We're gonna go here, the corner. This guy had been on the stand. If you've watched several of our videos, you know this guy's been in the corner for a while. And it's a CB750 engine. The frame is in the back of the truck. I haven't taken it out since I got it. I paid $100 for the whole bike in pieces. And I've got the engine up here. I need to rebuild the engine and then we'll build up that CB750. I left this guy out here. This is a starter roller that one of my friends that has since passed away that he built years ago. And it's totally homemade. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. So the way this thing works, he has done, he just used a car battery, a couple of, I think these are Ford starters. You turn it on and then roll the bike onto there. You can step on it with your right foot, pop the clutch. Next thing you know, you've got it started. Saves that right leg from all the kicking. So that saves the right leg from all the kicking. Now, you guys may be wondering, these motorcycles out here, those two cars out here, everything ends up in this garage and this door comes down at night. How do you do it? I'm really good at Tetris. So let me go to, and I don't mind saying this in front of all the other motorcycles, one of my favorite motorcycles. This is a 1968 Honda CB450 K1. Early, this was the first 5-speed 450 Honda did. So pretty awesome. I'd been wanting one of these. This thing showed up at auction several years ago. Not in this condition, and I paid $400 for it, and we've kind of turned it into where it is today. It does not have the correct exhaust, nor does it have the correct bars. Correct bars are hard to find. Correct exhaust, easier to find, harder to part with the money that you're going to spend for them. So I'm okay with it like it is. I had these bars already, and I had these exhausts already. When I got it, it had big pullback bars that came up, kind of big high bars, and somebody had spray bombed the side covers so you couldn't see it. So the reason why I got it so cheap is people didn't know what it was because it had a horrible paint job on it. And speaking of horrible paint job, this, let me give it a wipe. This was done with a rattle can outside and 2K clear on top. So you don't have to spend loads of money, you know. At least that's my thought. And guys, let me just pause just for a moment right there. That's kind of one of the tenets, I guess, if you will, our principles of kind of the way I do things. How can I do it, not being a cheapskate, although I don't like spending money, but how can I do it, make it look the best by spending the least amount of money? Like I try to get them running without spending any money. If I can do that, too many times people load the parts cannon right when they get a motorcycle. They get a project bike and they just buy all the parts, and then they come to find out they don't even like the motorcycle, or they take it all apart and it never rolls again. I bought too many of them like that. You know, speaking of one, I bought this one just like this. which is Carrie's other bike, 1973 CB354. This, I bought it from a guy. I bought a pair of them, bought 2 of them for $400 from the same guy. And he did the classic mistake. He tried to do too much too soon and couldn't figure out why it didn't work. And then we're buying them from him. My wife and I are there, and he's like, yeah, my wife won't let me keep them, as my wife is carrying wheels to put in the trailer. It's like, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. So this guy is awesome. We found out when we got it, it came with carb kits, the boxes where he had rebuilt all the carbs. And what we found out is he put every float needle in upside down. At least he was consistent. And he couldn't figure out why it wouldn't stop pouring gas. You know, I changed the float needles. Yeah, put them in the wrong way. This is another one of my bucket list motorcycles. Now I've got a list of motorcycles that I want, and they're not crazy motorcycles. They're easily attainable motorcycles. This is a 1972 Yamaha XS2 650. I think it's just a beautiful motorcycle. I think they did such a great job. Plus, I love the XS 650 platform. I've had several of them over the years, and I love them. I think they're amazing motorcycles. I think they're great. Size, sound, everything. And I think this one is near the top. Why is this one near the top? Because it has a little thing called an electric starter. And if you've ever tried to kickstart one of these XS 650s, you know that the electric starter is awesome. You know, so that's where we are. Yamaha XS2 354, and then we moved to the thing that got it all started, how this single motorcycle turned into 16 in the garage. 1964 Honda 305 Dream. Now, the motorcycle I was looking for when I got the 305 Dream, the Honda Dream, was a Sears Allstate 250 or a Puch Twingle, right? Allstate 250. Similar styling, stamped steel frame, chrome side covers. I am a sucker for chrome side covers. And this guy fits it right there. The crazy thing about this motorcycle is I had a friend that I used to buy, and we used to trade motorcycles back and forth. He lived in southern Arkansas, and he wanted a Dream. And every time I talked to him, he's an older guy, every time I talked to him, he goes, hey, let me know if you find a Dream. And so one day I was going to be going up there to pick up motorcycles. He said, hey, have you found a Dream? And I said, no, but I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll sell you mine, but you have to sell it back to me for what I sell it to you for. You know, I'll just hold on to your money. You hold on to my motorcycle, and then we'll just give it back to each other. And that's what we did. He had it for about a year, and then he called me up and he said, okay, you can have it back. And it sat in his living room the whole time. He never rode it. He just wanted to own one. And that's what we did. So, and then we had to have it back. So I put 6,000 miles on this Dream one year. It's just, I rode it like I stole it, you know. You guys may have all seen the 1983 Kawasaki GPZ 1100, which is awesome. It's never going anywhere. We're going to stay here. This thing's going to stay with us for a long time. It's going to get a lot of love as we move forward, but I like kind of rolling restorations. Enjoy them while you fix them. Don't just take it all apart and then a year later you get to ride it. I'd rather do some work, get it running, ride it around, do some more work, ride it around, do some more work, because you know, you fix the one thing so you can figure out what the next thing is you have to fix. And so if I know I'm gonna have to fix more, why not just keep at it that way? Let me get something to drink. It is hot. I'm in South Louisiana and it's hot. So this guy, again, sucker for chrome side covers. 1967 Kawasaki W1 650. And this guy is, everything about it is just perfect. It's not a perfect example, but everything about this motorcycle is perfect. And why? Because I had a really great friend of mine, who I called Yoda. I already mentioned him. This guy right here, Howard Doris. He passed away a couple of years ago, and one of the motorcycles that he gave me before he died was this 1967 Kawasaki W1, and it was on my bucket list. This is another one of my bucket list motorcycles. I think they're awesome. I love them, the styling. I love riding them. It's incredible. The thing I like most about this one is that it's kind of a Franken bike. Howard did what he wanted to with this to get it running. And what I mean by that is it's a W1, but it has a W2 cylinder on it. But because the tank didn't quite fit, because the W1 only has one carburetor, W2 has two carburetors, he had to build this little adapter for the petcock, which I love. Everything about it. If you knew him, this says Howard all day long, and that's never changing because it's perfect exactly the way it is. You know, so it's awesome. It's great. We did a video just recently, maybe 3 weeks ago, about this guy. We took it out for the first ride in a while, so we did that. And then we'll get into, these are some of the, everything needs maintenance. Let's be clear. Everything in here needs maintenance. They're all something to do with, but I have few that are project bikes that are kind of there. This is one, 1968 CB 350 KO. I bought it, and the reason why I bought it for one reason. It was completely disassembled. Everything was taken apart. The engine was in Ziploc bags. So I bought it just to see if I could put the engine back together. I've had several CB350s, CL350s over the years. Wasn't really into another one, but I was into seeing if I could put this one back together. And that's all I did. I do not have headers, so I've never tried to run it. And I only paid $200 for the motorcycle, and I'm really been waiting for Barbara to come around this year for a big swap meet so I can see if I can find pieces and parts for it cheaper. So that's where we are on that. And then these other two that are almost finished. 1979 CB 750K. And I bought this for $300. Again, not in this condition. It was spray bombed, completely spray painted blue. Well, they wanted to paint the tank and the side covers, but they didn't take any of it off. So the tops of the engine was painted, some of the frame was painted, everything was painted. And then we went ahead and went through and got it back together. We just got the carbs back on. It does run. We got the carbs back on. Realized that I had a wrong cable, so I got to order a cable. And then we're just about done with this thing. Then it's going to move on to somebody else's house. We did some kind of neat things. We put lower bars. If you know what the CB750K 79s look like, they had higher pullback bars that came on them. Everything headlight angled up. We drilled out the welds and flipped these headlight brackets from side to side so we could drop the headlight down. Just so it lowers the stance of the motorcycle. It makes it look a little more modern, if you will, than what it looked like before. Before it looked more like this, but worse. See these headlights? See how this all comes up and how it's all swinging up? It looked like that, but worse, because you got to put high pullback bars on it, so everything went up. So, and then last but not least, right here, the little 1975 Moto Guzzi 850T. Just a great little bike. We bought this, again, $400. It was missing key components to this, i.e. the fender, front fender, the rear fender, the gauge cluster, the dashboard that holds the gauges for this model, and the rear seat hoop and the tail light. It was missing that stuff. Now I paid $400 with this, $400, $300 for the motorcycle, $100 for the brand new tires that came with it, and all of that other stuff was going to cost way too much for what the bike would be worth back to stock. And so we decided to make it into a little cafe racer-ish. Yamaha XS650 front fender, Yamaha XS650 headlight, Yamaha XS650, what's left of the rear fender, the tail light is in there. What's left of that, we made the seat ourselves. We painted the tank and side covers ourselves. I have to wet sand the clear coat here, and then I just have to build the gauge bracket, and we're basically done. Finish up some lighting stuff, and we're basically done. It's a cool little motorcycle. It's going to be fun, and then it's moving on to somebody else's house. This one is not staying. This one is not staying. The Twinstar is not staying. There's a couple other ones that need homes. So, you know, I just wanted to take a moment just to kind of give you guys an update, kind of where we are, what we're doing. what the plans are for the future. Now, the great thing about having friends that have cool motorcycles is Amanda's not my only friend with cool motorcycles that let me kind of use them and play with them. So that's why we can put out kind of content the way we do. Is we may be all over the place. That's okay, because that's what I like. No offense, that's what I like. I like all motorcycles to a degree. I like some more than others, but I like them all. And the more interesting they are, the more I like them. The weirder they are, the more I like them. And I like being able to show a bunch of different things. So that's where it is. And this was a lot of fun. It's like an episode of MTV Cribs. But there's been a lot of questions in the comments about other motorcycles. Oh, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this guy. It's in the back. It's a 1971 Triumph Spitfire. And we acquired it, what are we, 2023? We acquired it at the end of 2020. It's, so my daughter Margaret, our youngest daughter Margaret, her fiance now, Bryce, this was his grandfather's. And it's a 71. He bought it, his grandfather bought it in 1973. He parked it in 1995. And so for 25 years it sat. And so when I got it, we got it running again and we started running it around. Actually, we got it at the end of the year 2019, before COVID, because this was our social distancing car. We would get in this pretty much every day and run a lap. And so we got it running and riding, and we rode it around. And then when Carrie got her new car over there, the red one, when she got her new car, it needed to be indoors. And so it needed to take up this space. So because it needed this space, which that used to occupy, I had to figure out how to be able to get the truck, the car, this car, all the motorcycles indoors. So we ended up having to make the door to the shop bigger, because it used to just come to right here. It used to just be this door right in the center of the garage. So now we had to make it bigger so we could fit it all the way across. And so now the car fits there. The great thing is my daughter has now since graduated from college, I shouldn't say graduated from college, because this is like graduating from college the third time. She just graduated with her PhD. And so they just bought a house in New Orleans, so that one will be moving to their house. And think of all the room for activities we'll have. So guys, thanks for watching yet another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. And do me a favor, like, tag, share, and follow us on Instagram at Motorcycle Rewind, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're in the subscribing mood, just wander on over to our friends, Brickhouse Builds, Moto Mango, Ace Cafe Bikes, Gold Guy, and Mile Zero Racers. And don't forget about Pete's Classic Cycle, and give those guys to subscribe too. If you're into Kawasaki's, you should be following and subscribing to Pete's Classic Cycle, because all he does, for the most part, are Kawasaki's. So, have a great day. GoPro, stop recording. Thanks for watching yet another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. And do me a favor, like, tag, share, and follow us on Instagram at Motorcycle Rewind. And do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. And while you're in the subscribing mood, just wander on over to our friends, Brickhouse Builds, Gold Guy, Moto Mango, Ace Cafe Bikes, Mile Zero Racers, and Pete's Classic Cycle, and give those guys a subscribe too. Thanks again, guys, and have a great day.